Speed Racer wasn't just a cartoon, it was a full-throttle blast of chaos, color, and car crashes that defined a generation. But behind those catchy theme songs and wild races, things got way crazier than fans ever realized. From secret production struggles to the unexpected real-life inspiration behind the Mach 5, this show's history is a wild ride of its own. So, buckle up, because here are 10 crazy facts about Speed Racer, 1967, that will shock you. Fact number 1. Believe it or not, Speed Racer wasn't even called Speed Racer originally. In Japan, the show went by Mach Go Go Go, and honestly, the meaning behind that name is way more interesting than it first sounds. Mach Go 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 first aired on Fuji TV from April 1967 to March 1968. It was created by Tatsuo Yoshida and produced by his studio, Tatsunoko Productions, the same folks who later made classics like Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets in English, and Casshern. Back then, the anime scene in Japan was just starting to blow up, and Mach Go 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 was one of the shows that really helped define that early cool fast and slightly over-the-top style. Now, the title itself is a clever play on words. Mach refers to speed, like Mach 1, the speed of sound, but it's also the name of the main car, the Mach 5. Then you've got Go, which pulls triple duty. First, it's the name of the main character, Go Mifune, named after legendary Japanese actor Toshiro Mifune. Second, Go is also the Japanese word for the number 5, again tying back to the Mach 5. And third, the repeating go 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 part gives it that high energy vibe, like the roar of an engine revving up before a race. When the series was brought to the US later that same year, the American distributor Translux decided to tweak it for English-speaking audiences. They renamed Go Mifune to Speed Racer to keep things simple and catchy. The localization also included redubbing, toning down a few darker storylines, and adding that unforgettable theme song that basically everyone who grew up in the 60s or 70s still remembers.
What I call a real sporty model.
Oh, I agree. A beautiful line.
Fact number 2. Believe it or not, Speed Racer was partly inspired by Elvis Presley and James Bond. Yep, the king of rock and a suave British spy somehow came together to shape one of anime's earliest racing legends. Here's how it happened. Tatsuo Yoshida, the creator of Mach Go Go Go, which later became Speed Racer, was obsessed with Western movies. In the mid-60s, he watched Viva Las Vegas, the 1964 film where Elvis plays a smooth, charming race car driver who juggles romance and high-octane competition. Yoshida loved the energy, the cars, the music, and especially Elvis's cool confidence behind the wheel. Then he saw Goldfinger, also from 1964, and got hooked on James Bond's gadget-filled Aston Martin DB5, complete with ejector seats, smoke screens, and secret weapons. That combo sparked something big. Yoshida basically thought, what if I mix Elvis's style with Bond's car tech and make it even faster? And that's exactly what he did. You can totally see it in Speed's design, the sharp haircut, the clean look, and that fearless grin all scream young Elvis. Meanwhile, the Mach 5, with its wild buttons and hidden gadgets, is straight out of Bond's playbook, just reimagined for an anime audience. In fact, Yoshida once said that these movies inspired him while working on his earlier manga pilot Ace, which eventually evolved into Mach Go Go Go. So, in a weird but awesome way, Speed Racer was born from Hollywood coolness mixed with Japanese creativity. Fact number 3. So, here's something that surprises a lot of longtime fans. That big M you see on Speed's helmet and on the Mach 5? It doesn't actually stand for Mach at all. Nope, it's for Mifune, which was the family's original Japanese last name before the show was adapted for English audiences. In the original anime, the main character isn't called Speed Racer, he's Go Mifune, and his family runs a small car company called Mifune Motors, the creators of the Mach 5 itself. That M is basically their family crest, proudly painted on the car and embroidered on Speed's gear. It's a nice touch once you know the backstory. It's not just a random design choice, it's a family emblem with real meaning behind it. When the show came to the US, though, the localization team decided to change the Mifune family name to Racer, turning Go Mifune into Speed Racer and his dad into Pops Racer. They even renamed the company Racer Motors, but they didn't bother changing the M logos. Redesigning all that artwork and animation would have been a ton of extra work, so they just rolled with it. Most viewers never questioned it, assuming it stood for Mach 5 or something to do with speed. There's another cool little detail here too. Creator Tatsuo Yoshida named the Mifune family as a tribute to Toshiro Mifune, one of Japan's most legendary actors. You've probably seen him in old samurai films like Seven Samurai or Yojimbo. Yoshida admired Mifune's intensity and presence, and he wanted his hero to embody that same fearless determination.
You put on the mask, racist mask, to make fools of us, huh?
You're wrong about that. I happened to be trying on the mask when somebody sneaked up behind me and hit me. It's not my fault that you made a mistake.
Fact number 4. The English dub is famously awkward and over the top, but that's what made it a cult classic. And it was done super fast to meet deadlines, leading to some hilarious mishaps. When Mach Go 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 was brought over from Japan by Translux in 1967, voice director Peter Fernandez was given a nearly impossible task: adapt and record 52 episodes as fast as humanly possible. The problem? Japanese animation back then didn't have the same pacing or mouth movement patterns as English dialogue. So to make everything fit, the cast had to speak really fast, like comically fast. That's how we ended up with the signature Speed Racer delivery, characters firing off exposition like they're in a caffeine-fueled auction. Add in the exaggerated sound effects, boings, zips, and random whooshes, and you've got a dub that feels more like a fever dream than a race. The actors were doing their best, but the production was just moving too quickly to catch every mistake. Some scenes had weird name mix-ups, others cut out bits of violence or swapped cultural references for more American ones. There's even a story that Fernandez himself didn't think the show would ever become iconic. He was just trying to make it kid-friendly and deliver on time. And somehow, it worked. Fans loved it. That frantic energy and awkward dubbing gave the show its unique charm. Decades later, it's been parodied everywhere, from Dexter's Laboratory to Robot Chicken, and even influenced how later anime dubs approached humor and pacing. What started as a rush job ended up defining an era of anime localization. So, while critics at the time might have called it one of the worst dubs ever, it's that very imperfection that made Speed Racer unforgettable. It's proof that sometimes the quirks and rough edges are exactly what makes something stand out. Without that goofy high-speed dialogue, Speed Racer might have just been another foreign cartoon. Instead, it became a cult classic that still makes people smile and talk way too fast today.
Believe it! Believe it! Believe it! So believe it! Then believe it! Believe it! Believe it! Believe it! Believe it! Believe it! Believe it!
Fact number 5. Before Naruto was yelling, "Believe it," and Goku was powering up for what felt like half a season, Speed Racer was the show that introduced American audiences to Japanese animation. It was basically the gateway anime before anyone even knew what anime was. When Speed Racer hit US airwaves in 1967, there was nothing else quite like it on television. American cartoons at the time were mostly slapstick comedies, think Looney Tunes or The Flintstones. Then suddenly, here comes this fast-paced, dramatic show from Japan featuring wild car chases, secret identities, and emotional storylines about family, loyalty, and danger. It wasn't just wacky or funny, it actually had stakes. And for a lot of kids, that was a totally new experience. The show aired in syndication, which meant it popped up all over local channels, especially during after-school or Saturday morning time slots. That helped it find a massive audience across the country. Kids didn't know they were watching anime. They just knew Speed Racer looked cooler and felt way more intense than anything else on TV. It also paved the way for future Japanese imports. Without Speed Racer proving that US audiences could fall in love with animation from Japan, shows like Astro Boy, Battle of the Planets, Voltron, and eventually Dragon Ball Z might have had a harder time getting airtime. Industry folks actually credit Speed Racer as one of the first big hits that made American networks realize anime could be profitable and cool.
Are you my brother? Are you my brother, Rex Racer?
Fact number 6. One of the biggest twists in Speed Racer history, and honestly one of the earliest OMG moments in anime, is the truth about Racer X. That mysterious masked driver who always seemed to show up at the perfect time to help Speed? Yeah, turns out he's not just a rival. He's actually Speed's older brother, Rex Racer. When the show first aired back in 1967, that reveal completely floored viewers. Up until then, Racer X was this enigmatic figure, skilled, quiet, and always one step ahead. He'd swoop in to save Speed during dangerous races, then disappear just as quickly, leaving fans wondering, who is this guy? In the original Japanese version, the backstory is surprisingly dramatic for what was considered a kids' show. Rex Mifune, that's his original name before the English dub changed it, leaves home after wrecking one of his father's experimental cars. Pops, or Daisuke Mifune, scolds him harshly, and Rex storms off, vowing not to return until he's proven himself as the best racer in the world. Not long after, he's believed to have died in a terrible accident. But the twist? He didn't die. He went undercover. Rex fakes his death, gets plastic surgery, and re-emerges as Racer X, a secret agent and professional driver who keeps his identity hidden to protect his family, especially Speed. The mask isn't just for show, it's a symbol of that hidden loyalty. He can't reveal who he is, but he's always there in the background, making sure his little brother stays safe. Fans back in the 60s started to suspect something was up long before the official reveal. The clues were subtle. The similar driving techniques, the way Racer X always seemed to know exactly what Speed was thinking, and even moments of quiet emotional tension when they interacted. It's one of those storylines that perfectly balanced action with heart, and it gave Speed Racer way more emotional depth than anyone expected from a cartoon about cars. Interestingly, in the manga, Yoshida hinted at the connection a little earlier, but the anime really milked the suspense. By the time the truth came out, it was a full-on emotional gut punch. Family drama, betrayal, redemption, all wrapped up in a racing helmet. This twist also ended up inspiring tons of other stories down the road. You see versions of it in superhero tales. Think masked protectors keeping secrets for the greater good. And even in soap operas and modern anime. Racer X basically set the template for the mysterious, tragic older sibling trope that became iconic in storytelling.
Master, he looks mysterious in that mask and sort of handsome.
Speed, I warned you! Get out of the race!
Are you some kind of secret agent? Some kind of secret agent?
Speed's in danger.
Fact number 7. Believe it or not, most of Speed Racer's English voice cast could have fit into a single car, because there were only 3 main actors doing almost every voice in the show. Voice director Peter Fernandez wasn't just running the show behind the mic, he was the show. He voiced both Speed Racer and Racer X, meaning he was literally talking to himself in some scenes, and somehow he pulled it off perfectly. Then there was Corinne Orr, who deserves major props. She voiced Trixie, Mom Racer, and Spritle. And rounding out the trio was Jack Grimes, who brought to life Chim Chim, the family's pet chimp, and Sparky, Speed's trusty mechanic. He handled all the goofy, playful energy that balanced out the show's more intense racing moments. Back in the late 60s, anime dubbing wasn't exactly a big-budget operation. They didn't have massive teams or fancy equipment, just a few talented voice actors juggling multiple roles while matching the fast-paced, often unpredictable animation. And yet, it totally worked. Fact number 8. Speed Racer is legendary for its high-speed races, and for some absolutely bonkers animation and dubbing mistakes that somehow made fans love it even more. It's one of those shows where the errors became part of the charm. Take the infamous GRX engine fiasco, for example. In the original Japanese version, the GRX is this experimental engine so powerful it literally drives people insane from speed. It's a dark, intense storyline, very sci-fi, very ahead of its time. But in the English dub, somehow it got lost in translation. The GRX was suddenly called an entire car, not an engine. So when the characters start talking about driving the GRX, it makes zero sense. Viewers were like, wait, is it an engine, a car, or a ghost that possesses people? Pure confusion, but also kind of hilarious in retrospect. And that wasn't the only mix-up. The show is packed with tiny continuity slips, like speedometers changing mid-race. One moment Speed's car tops out at 400 kilometers per hour. The next scene, it's magically 440. Sometimes the Mach 5's design literally changes frame to frame, and there are moments where characters' mouths keep moving after the dialogue ends. Classic 60s anime chaos. Even the credits weren't safe. When MTV reran Speed Racer in the 90s, fans spotted typos like Jack Crimes instead of Jack Grimes, and name mix-ups popped up in Latin American dubs too. Add to that a few awkward translations, and suddenly everyone's calling the same gadget by 3 different names. But here's the fun part. All of this happened because the production was running at lightning speed, pun intended. Tatsunoko Productions was cranking out episodes on tight deadlines with small budgets and minimal time for quality control. Meanwhile, the US dub team was racing just as fast to adapt the scripts and record dozens of episodes in record time.
I've worked on it for a year. I hope you will give the go-ahead to actually build the engine according to this plan here. Don't waste time rebuilding it! What? You haven't heard the rest of my plans for the Mach 5.
Fact number 9. So here's something you might not expect. Before Pops Racer was a car-building genius and the grumpy yet lovable dad we all know, he was actually a professional wrestler. In the original Japanese version, his name is Daisuke Mifune, and his backstory is surprisingly intense for a family cartoon. Before founding Mifune Motors, Pops was a pro wrestler who eventually gave it up after a string of injuries and growing disillusionment with the sport. Depending on the version, he either gets hurt one too many times or just decides he wants to focus on something more meaningful, building the ultimate race cars. That's when he turns his passion for machinery into his life's work and starts designing the famous Mach series. But here's where it gets extra fun. His wrestling past never really leaves him. Pops is known to bust out wrestling moves in fights, whether it's taking down a thug who's threatening Speed or tossing a shady racer like a rag doll. It's part comedy, part, wait, what just happened? And it totally fits his tough guy image. You can tell he's the kind of dad who's seen things and isn't afraid to get his hands dirty in or out of the ring. Fact number 10. Behind all the high-speed races and flashy cars, Speed Racer has spent decades caught in its own kind of race, a legal one. You see, when Mach Go 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 first came to the US in the late 1960s, Translux acquired the American distribution rights and helped create the English-dubbed Speed Racer that became a hit. That part went smoothly enough at first, but as time went on, the ownership trail started to get messy. By the 1990s, a company called Speed Racer Enterprises had taken over the US licensing rights. They were behind a lot of the brand's revival, including new merchandise, comics, and even the Speed Racer X anime reboot in 1997. As you'd expect, Tatsunoko Productions, the original Japanese studio that created Mach Go Go Go, claimed that Speed Racer Enterprises had gone way too far, signing off on deals and products that exceeded what they were actually allowed to do. It turned into a full-blown international legal fight over who truly owned the franchise and what rights had been improperly licensed. After years of back and forth, Tatsunoko finally took the case to court, and in 2013, they won. The ruling officially gave Tatsunoko Productions back full control of the Speed Racer intellectual property. It was a huge moment for the studio and for longtime fans, but it also explained a lot. Those missing reboots, canceled comic projects, and weird licensing gaps over the years, they were all caught in that legal limbo while everyone tried to figure out who actually had permission to use Speed and the Mach 5. It's one of those behind-the-scenes stories that shows just how complicated entertainment rights can get, especially with older shows that crossed international borders before global licensing laws were clearly defined. The good news is that now, with Tatsunoko firmly back in the driver's seat, Speed Racer has a smoother road ahead. The franchise has seen new collaborations, remastered releases, and even talk of future adaptations since then. And there you have it. 10 wild facts about Speed Racer that prove this show was way more than just fast cars and catchphrases. So, what's your favorite Speed Racer memory? Let us know down in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this trip down the racetrack of nostalgia, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into classic shows, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one.